How's it going, everybody? My name is Trips, and over the weekend I was able to play some of the Star Wars Battlefront beta, having played quite a bit of the original Battlefront games, and a pinch of the Battlefield games. I went into this hoping for something great. Starting off with the client itself, I was able to run at 1920 by 1080, keeping a consistent 60 FPS. Even some, while recording, I may have dipped a little bit with the recording software, but I was able to run 60 FPS solid without it. And I didn't experience almost any lag in the actual game itself. However, I did get a few times I got a disconnect from the game with an error message that displayed game session no longer exists. And other than the maybe 1 in 10 games, and even that's kind of high that it happened, everything else went pretty smoothly. So, onto the game modes. Obviously, in the beta, they aren't going to give you a whole lot of the package up front, either because they don't want you everything to be spoiled, or more than likely, they want you to give just a taste of what they want you to experience, so that you pre-order it, and you're frothing at the mouth for what the game is actually going to be in full launch. But the beta launched with 2 multiplayer maps and 1 survivor mission. The multiplayer maps consisted of a smaller version called the drop pods, I believe, and the bigger being the Hoth style map. In the drop pod style map, there were no vehicles, no Jedis, which is understandable because of the smaller size of the map. And the goal was to capture the points, which is the pods itself. Sometimes they wouldn't drop, they would just activate. And so once the pod's activated, you had to run up and cap it and defend it for a while, and when it was fully defended, it would tally a point up to 5, I believe, and it would drop 3 power-ups ranging from things like squad shields that deflect bullets in a small AoE, a proximity mine, a rocket launcher, orbital strikes, an incendiary grenade, and a couple turrets. So the survivor game type was pretty closed off, but for what I previewed, it was okay. It was a horde-style gameplay in a canyon, and the pods from the previous map were dropping, so that the smaller multiplayer map where, you got ATSTs and hordes of the Imperial coming in, it would lighten the load a bit by giving you a little bit of power-ups here and there. But, however, to be honest, there wasn't really that much to judge because there was only 6 waves, and to me, it felt like no challenge. It was just very fast, and it ended. And they almost put up no fight, but it was also on a very easy difficulty. So the final choice being here, the Hoth style map, which is more of the Battlefront we remember with the vehicles and Jedis all included. The aim of this map is for the rebels to keep the Imperial AT-ATs pushing into like a 3-style tiered defense by holding 2 points at each of the tiers, and the Imperials get assistance from things like the ATSTs, Vader, and TIE fighters, while the rebels get Luke, X-Wings, and A-Wings. And the only problem I had with this is the odd change from getting into a ship, let's say like in a hangar and taking off, or killing a kill spree and then spawning later as a Jedi. You instead find power-ups in the same vein as the other ones I listed previously, and to me it just seemed kind of random, but I could be wrong about this. Honestly, it wasn't that jarring, but it still stuck out to me. This was by far the most fun map, though, because running around in the trenches and just watching all the blasters and bombs and ships dogfighting around the AT-ATs that inevitably crept closer and closer to the edge of the map, it did feel a bit like Battlefield, but not in a bad way, because, to be honest, I never really got into the Battlefield games that much, but this actually made me care because, well, it was Star Wars. For your online character and profile, they limited you to how you could customize and explore. It capped your profile at level 5, although they did give you access to a decent amount of weapons and gadgets, such as the regular blaster, a pistol, a long-range blaster, and like a chain-style gun that was very long-range, as well as a sniper rifle being put into the gadget slot, which I thought was cool, but kind of weird because you can't technically be a sniper. Although with one of the perks that they released later, it would reduce the cooldown if you got a headshot and such. Some of the other stuff being a grenade, a second grenade that might be better against vehicles, a jump pack, a personal shield, and buffs for your bullets that work better against vehicles, or like I said, the one if you got headshots, it would reset your cooldowns. The vehicles all controlled pretty decently, but for not playing much of Battlefield games or any type of like flight simulators, I won't really pretend to know what I'm talking about as far as vehicle controls go, but from what I played, they were pretty slick. It was easy to get around, slowing and speeding up, and you even had aerial maneuvers and stuff like that. However, the icing on the cake, obviously what everyone wants to do, is the Jedis. They felt pretty awesome, with Vader's Force Choke and Luke's agility, being able to jump around and dash forward. They are both extremely intimidating to see run up to you on the map, as they would cut through you and your allies like butter if you do face them head on. Now, some of the biggest gripes I had with the game was, like I mentioned before, the power-up system felt kind of gimmicky and slightly random at where they would spawn, and the AT-ATs were a bit too strong. I don't think I really ever won more than maybe one of the maps as the Rebels, because even if you did take down one of the AT-ATs, the other one was right behind it, and it was almost untouched unless you kept the beacons going for the whole game. And the worst thing that I saw in the game was there was no Chewie, no Wookiees, and no alternate styles of the Imperial suits and stuff like that. But that was also locked. You couldn't actually customize your look of the character, so that could change. Playing a decent chunk of the game that I did, honestly, all my doubts kind of went away personally. This game isn't like the originals that much, but it doesn't make it a bad game. What matters to me is that playing the game, I had a lot of fun because I was actually running around in the battles of the franchise that I actually cared about, and not just some random war game where the wars have been played out time and time again. And like I said previously, I'm not a big Battlefield player, so take my opinion on those games with a grain of salt here. And as far as I'm concerned, EA and DICE did do a solid job with this beta weekend. I can't wait till the actual game launches. Was it perfect by any means? No. Was it fun? Hell yes. And in my book, that's what matters the most. And thank you guys so much for watching my short little review of the Battlefront beta weekend. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know what you thought of the game if you did get a chance to play. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because BlizzCon is getting so close. And rumor has it that the Overwatch beta might be on the horizon. And that is one of the games I will claw my way into if necessary so I can make content revolving around it. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.